Great strides have been made in the improvement of roads, highways, and motor vehicles. However, the human factor which causes accidents is very little understood. Each of us are individuals with varying degrees of physical and mental aptitudes. But there is one thing we all have in common. Each one of us considers himself a good driver. How safe a driver we are is determined by how well we control our physical actions through our mental processes. Our minds are divided into two parts, the conscious, through which we do all of our reasoning, and the subconscious, which retains knowledge. The subconscious has no ability to reason or to decide upon anything. It merely stores up facts and habits. Once we have mastered the mechanics of driving by conscious application, the subconscious takes over and performs these actions automatically. The longer we drive and habit patterns are developed, the more likely we are to be lulled into a sense of false security. Under ordinary driving conditions, we are continuously making split-second decisions. Many of these are routine and are adequately handled by our subconscious reflexes. Others require conscious reasoning, where factors must be checked before a change of operation can be made. When we consciously follow safe practices, they will soon become safe habits. Let's see how an unsafe practice develops into a bad habit. Driver X considered himself a good driver, and at exactly 7:40 each morning, he left his home and followed the same route to work. There is a stop sign about 2 blocks away. At first, he used to stop there. Well, almost stop. He had never believed too much in stop signs, and besides, there wasn't much traffic on this other street anyhow. His subconscious had developed a dangerous habit pattern, and on this morning his conscious thoughts were occupied with more interesting things than driving a car. Driver X might have gone right on passing up stop signs if he hadn't been hit by Driver Y. We know that Driver X is legally responsible for this accident, but can Driver Y prove it? It isn't often you can get a witness who was looking at the exact moment of a collision, and the law says that after a car has stopped for a stop sign, it has the right of way over cars in the protected street that are not close enough to present an immediate hazard. What kind of a driver is Driver Y? He rated himself excellent, never having been involved in an accident before. He, too, had developed habit patterns. One of these was the complete trust he placed in stop signs. Now, perhaps it seems a little foolish to him to have placed so much trust in a piece of painted metal. A stop sign serves its purpose only if a driver consciously sees and heeds its command. Another habit Driver Y had developed was fudging on the posted speed limits. Not much, only 5 miles or so. If he had been within the speed limit and consciously alert to the possibility of someone running a stop sign, he might have avoided the collision. Any unsafe procedure that we continuously follow can develop into a fatal habit. After finding a parking place and getting the car into it, our thoughts are probably concerned with what we are going to do and say when we arrive at our destination. The subconscious takes over and guides our actions through the mechanical processes of the car's operation and opening the door and stepping into the street. If we have not consciously formed the habit of watching for hazards, our subconscious sees no harm in letting us get out this way. Our habit patterns can also be expensive as well as dangerous. Most of us at one time or another have tried to be first away when the signal changes. Actually, we are not getting to our destination any faster. We will have to stop at the next intersection because signals are timed to maintain a safe flow of traffic. The tortoise does just as well as the hare in a situation like this, and he gets there a lot more economically. Modern automobiles are provided with much more horsepower than we really need, and it requires a lot of good horse sense to properly handle it. Everything we do affects the actions of others. If someone passes us on the highway, our subconscious reaction is to speed up also. This reaction is caused by our competitive urge. Unless this urge is consciously restrained, we will find ourselves passing car after car as our speed increases. This urge for faster travel is in turn passed on to other drivers, and soon there is a whole line of fast-moving traffic. Fatigue is one of the greatest hazards to our driving safety. It is especially dangerous because it creeps up on us gradually, dulling our sensibilities and our ability to think clearly. A tired driver will drift off to sleep, and his car will drift off the highway or into another car, taking them both to oblivion. When fatigued, a driver will experience hallucinations and have an accident by maneuvering to avoid an obstacle seen but not actually present on the highway. Our eating habits can also cause a dulling of our sensibilities. Too little nourishment, and we soon become weak and listless with varying degrees of dizziness. Overeating before a long drive is just as bad. To digest a heavy meal, great quantities of blood are drawn to the stomach, causing us to feel sluggish and sleepy, lowering our alertness. Long, monotonous stretches of highway combined with the steady sound of the car's movement can also induce an hypnotic type of sleep. In situations like this, conversation helps, or if alone, the car radio should be turned on. Whenever you recognize the first symptoms of fatigue or sleep, it is foolhardy to try to fight it. Stop your car and walk around for a while until you are again alert. However, this is only a temporary expedient. There is no substitute for sleep. Our reactions to our surroundings are different when we are behind the wheel because of the hazards involved. Annoyances that we would overlook or ignore under other circumstances will very often cause us to literally blow our tops. Anger, whether justified or not, destroys our reasoning power and good judgment. An angry driver is a menace to himself and to others. Unhappiness and emotional stress are also responsible for thousands of smash-ups. A bad day at the office or trouble at home can upset our emotional balance, destroying our ability to rationalize. An automobile is a most effective salve for emotional hurts. Behind the wheel, we are the boss. The car never argues. We step on the gas and the great power leaps to our command. We put distance between ourselves and our troubles, at least temporarily. But when we are emotionally upset, our cars can instantly turn into lethal weapons. As time passes, our traffic congestion will get worse instead of better. Although billions of dollars are planned to expand our highway systems and freeways, the growth in population will provide cars to fill them before they are even completed. If we are to survive under these conditions and still derive some pleasure from our driving, we must, as individuals, adapt ourselves to conditions. Breaking unsafe habits and replacing them with safe ones won't be easy. But if it protects ourselves and others from injury or death, the effort is worthwhile. We expend great amounts of nervous energy in driving, and a healthy body and alert mind are necessary requisites. We all have our limitations beyond which we cannot go. Anger and emotional stress in an automobile are suicidal at the least and can be murderous. There is no time in our daily existence when our ability to think clearly is more important